Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to show you the most common mistakes most people do when they're doing their service, ranging from using the wrong oil all the way to overfilling or underfilling their oil. While on it, I'm going to show you the best practices which you're supposed to do so that you do a nice and clean oil change. So next I'm going to show you also what important messages are always written on the oil cap, and next to that I'm going to show you why you should always change your oil filter. And finally, I'm going to answer this question at the end of the video. One user has been asking how often should they change their oil change if they don't drive their car that often. So all this information is contained in the video. Please watch to the end. At the end of the video, if you have questions or in between, you can leave in the comment section. So let's begin. So let's dive straight into it. The first mistake people do is using the wrong oil on their car, and this is very visible when you drive your car and you start seeing smoke after you just change your oil. Also, when you start hearing your engine oil making this noisy kind of like cranky in there, that's the sign that you're using the wrong oil in your car. Then I'm going to show you how to identify the right viscosity for your car. This is 0W20, and then you have several other brands. Also, what I'm going to show you how to what kind of oil your car uses, whether it's conventional, synthetic, full synthetic, high mileage. And on that, the first thing where you have to look to show you to give you that information. First place to look for, where most people don't look pay attention to, is your oil cap. Pay attention. They're already reading something here. Is an SAE 5W30. So that's the recommended oil you should be using on this car. So another place you'll find this information helpful is when you come just to the front, the hood. So when you pop it up, normally it has this kind of information which tells you the kind of oil your car should be using. This right here is BMW. It's saying you have to use only a high performance synthetic oil. So you don't use a non-synthetic oil on this car, and there's a part number right here for the synthetic oil you're supposed to use. Another thing also, when you come inside the car, come over here and then you can just pop up this right over here, and then you find the manual for the car right over here. So once you take it out, so this contains important information concerning your oil. So another important part you also check when you come to lubricants and fluids. So this is where you come towards the back of your manual. You see the engine oil, there's a V6. It gives you already this information right here. So you're going to use a 5W20. That's the engine's oil's meeting specification for that. And then right here, the V8 is supposed to take down. So on the manual is going to give you the exact kind of oil you're going to use in your car and the amount you're going to use for that engine. So this is very helpful in doing your oil. So please don't be making these mistakes. People buy any kind of oil, then they just put it in their car. Make sure you check first from your car handbook. Another important part which you have to look into is if you don't have the handbook in the car, what you do, you just go online to your manufacturer. Maybe it's like a Toyota, just like this. You go through it on their website. I think all these companies who manufacture cars, they have like a manual where you can just print it out and where you can just check it online, and then once you access it, it just shows you what kind of oil which you're supposed to have in the car. It'll just give you literally all the information you need. And the good thing I like with going online is that you can easily access the information because you just search like specific to where you want to be. Is like your oil change. Like right here, let me just select this car. I'm just choosing cars at random. So once I choose maybe this Lexus car like that, and then that's it. I choose this whichever year which is, I can just pick any and then I can search. So you find down here we have several manuals, and you just pick whatever manual just fits your car, and then once that manual shows up, then you can be able to just check the information you need. This is so important because I know sometimes you don't have your manual in your car for whatever reason. Maybe you bought a used car and then there's no manual in there. So once you're here, you just search the information which you need, like oil change. It just takes you straight up to where the oil change is, and then right from there you can check what specification fits your car. The third one and the last, which is important, is when you go to maybe like AutoZone, Advanced Auto. There's kind of like a manual in there for all cars. So once you're in there, you just check for your specific car, and then it will tell you the kind of oil you use and the capacity you're going to use. To summarize all these things, so the first one is you'll find information on oil couple hood, the car owner's manual, car website, and auto retail shop. So all these things is where you get the information about your oil type that you're going to use in your car. All right, let's go to the second one. The second most important thing most people really make mistake on is on oil filter. I don't know how I'll stress this enough. I've done a lot of oil service on many cars, and the most important part where people forget to change their oil filter, and then what happens is when the oil filter is not changed, it starts clogging up, and then when it clogs up like this, it cannot filter no oil. So what happens is oil will come from down inside the engine, and then there will be improper lubrication of all the moving parts, and then your engine will start overheating, and then after overheating, eventually it will become an engine failure. And all this is because of a poor kind of replacing your oil. Also, when they are deposited down over there on the oil pan, normally it will clog up, and then what happens, because the oil is dirty, all this dirt and stuff starts building up, and then that engine is going to fail eventually. It's really important to do that. And then the next thing which is important, which people really forget normally, is failing to prep their car before doing oil change. This is so important. Like once you get in the place, normally prepping up like these small particles in the oil pan will start moving around with the oil, so that when you drain it out, they will come out instead of just sitting there on the floor. So normally what I do when prepping up is I just crank the car for a few minutes, and then just like that. And then last thing, make sure you let everything drain out completely, so that the new oil does not mix with the old oil. So just let it drain out completely, and then it should be good to go. Another thing which is so important that people normally overlook is to study the kind of oil that comes from their car. So this is so important because it will help you able to know when to reduce doing your oil change. Maybe like if you've been doing 5,000 miles, if you've been doing 7,000 miles, when it gets too dirty, you start reducing it. Another thing, if the color changes, you'll be able to tell the health of your engine if your engine has a problem, so it will be easy to identify. So out from there, so next is what people forget to do normally is to change the seal for the oil plug, for the oil drain plug. So it's important that normally when you do your oil change, please make sure you place the seal, but if you don't have it, make sure you get one. And then once you do that, another thing people forget to do is to tighten back their drain plug. And then guess what, when you put new oil, everything goes out, or it will start leaking from this area, and then it goes out. And then finally, when I'm done like that, I normally like cleaning this area, so the next time if there is a leak, I'll be able to tell that this is a new leak, this is not an old leak, this is not something that remained from there. Of course, this procedure doesn't apply to these people who use these special tools to suck oil from the car. That's a different procedure, and I know it has their own advantages. Today we're not going into that, so we're just staying in there. Next thing which I think we're going to look into is overfilling and underfilling your oil. So this is a very common thing. I've seen a lot of people doing this mistake. They put too much oil. Some people put too little oil. Then when you see this car right here, it's telling you that the oil is too much. That means you have to suck other oil out. It's really annoying. Another thing with these new cars, at least it will tell you that reduce the engine oil level. That means you've overfilled it. So I normally encourage all the users to do is to go into their manual. It will give them the exact information they need. Another important thing this owner's handbook will tell you. So last information is the capacity. It's just right here. So it's going to contain all the information you need about your car. It's like 8.0. That's quarts for this. This is a V6. So normally it's also good to just check inside those manuals. It will really help you to know exact oil to put in there, and then it will really help you reduce that. Also, when you buy your oil from whatever you're buying from, maybe AutoZone, check on the manual. It will tell you the amount of the oil you need. Also, when you go online, you can also get from your car manufacturer. It will give you the exact amount of oil you need for your car. So these places will really help you to know the exact amount of oil which goes to your car owner's manual, auto retail shop, and the car website. One last thing, after we put in our oil, we just check. We just put the dipstick in, and then we check how much oil we have in there. So we check our dipstick. We just put it right in here. And then we take it out, and then we just see right there. So our oil is up to our level. So once that is done, the next thing which I normally tell people is have the right tools when doing oil change. Like normally have like a stand, a floor jack, or something which will help you. In some cases, there are those drain plugs which just need special tools. It's good to have the tools because sometimes I find people like using the wrong tools and messing it up. Like this oil filter right here, it needs a special tool to get it out. So if you don't have it, it will give you problems like getting it out. So it's always very good to have your tools handy before like doing the work. Make sure everything is there on the table. Also something which is very important, which I know people don't pay attention to, just using a funnel. This is so important because a funnel just helps you out, like to make sure you don't make unnecessary spills on your engine, you don't like mess your engine all there. So the important thing to do is just, so simple tools like the funnel is going to be very helpful when you do your oil change. So next thing which people normally don't pay attention to is paying attention to the message which just shows up on your dash. Most people ignore this message a lot, and this ignorance always comes with a heavy price. So when you find out that you don't change your oil in time, your engine may end up having sludge, and then forming sludge, eventually it overheat, and then once it overheats, then engine fail. Another thing which also results from that is they'll forget to pay the attention to their service, and then this oil filter clogs up, and then once it clogs up, it doesn't filter anything, engine overheats, and then eventually once it overheats, there you go, you lose an engine. So normally buying an oil filter is really cheap. Remind yourself to change your oil in time. Always make sure you pay attention to the stickers which they stick on your windshield. So this will help you as a good reminder so you change your oil on time. Another important thing which I have to mention right now is what people normally don't do is once you change your engine oil, make sure you reset the service, because once you don't reset the service counter, normally people forget that they've already done their oil on the car, and then it create this irregular kind of oil service that most people do. You might end up doing the oil change at the wrong time, you might drain out good oil. So it's always good to reset once you do your oil service, and also make sure when you reset when you do the service. Some people just reset when they don't do a service, and then they end up having a bad engine. Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Those are the 9 common mistakes people normally do when they're doing their oil service, and I hope today you learned something, and the next time you do your oil change, make sure you avoid these mistakes, and then your engine will last longer. So if you guys remember when we began, there's a question by a user, so I'm going to answer it. So what it says: how often should I change my engine oil if I only use my car once in a month? So according to my own opinion, I know there are a lot of opinions out there. If you just drive once in a month, so I'll just suggest you just change it every year. You do your oil change, and then you should be good to go. All right, thank you for watching the video. If you loved it, leave a like and subscribe, and then see you in the next video.